Hey guys, how are you? Keith and Julie back with another installment, another episode, another extravaganza.
Woo woo.
It's been a rather tumultuous week. Last Friday began with us having to put our daughter down, Feisty, that we'd had for 14 years. And so that was kind of a difficult, hard day. We knew it was coming. We thought that we didn't expect it to be quite so quick as it occurred. But we had some good times with her. She's one of the best dogs we've ever had, and she's left a lasting imprint, legacy, and void
Yeah.
around here. It's been just weird how a person, or in her case, a dog, which she was a person too, but left such a imprint on our hearts and on this space. And it just kind of weird how quiet it seemed, you know.
Yeah.
And she was a challenge, but especially
As she got
in the
older.
last year or so,
Yeah.
it just got she became more and more difficult. Not meaning to, but
Yeah.
just her body and mind and eyesight and hearing and everything were beginning to go, like happens to everybody. And but even toward the very end, when she couldn't even walk, when we would walk in, she would still wag her little tail, you know, and that was hard. So we had that, and then Wednesday morning,
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, yeah, Wednesday morning was a very
Oh goodness.
trying day. From the very beginning, I went outside, uh, slept in. Normally, I get up around 4:45, but had the opportunity to sleep in, and so I slept in till about I don't know. It was approximately 6:45 when I took Zoe out, or
No, it was
living
actually
dog.
it was actually earlier than that because after you got me up, I looked at the clock when I went through there and it said 6:20 something
Really? Okay,
after
I
you
think
got
it's a
me up.
little later. I think it's a little later.
Anyway, bottom line is first thing in the morning, he
Yeah,
takes the dog out at a time that's not his usual time, gets
yeah,
up at a time it's not his usual time, takes the dog out.
yeah. And as I took Zoe out, I smelled smoke, and I
Mm-hmm.
looked north, and I could see smoke.
Hmm.
And there's this house that has been a blight on the neighborhood for many, many years. And I looked and I saw a little glimmer of a flame through the window. And it was concerning for several reasons. For one thing, there had not been electricity to that house since sometime in November. And it wasn't like it was cold outside that somebody would need to build a fire or anything.
Even
The
though it's February,
Even though it's
it's
February,
a
it's
warm spell.
we've had some nice warm weather, and for the last several days, those occupants, which I say occupants, it had been partially vacant, partially vagrants in and out of there for a while, of the including children of the former owner that passed away in without giving. Well, I'm getting in the weeds here.
Yeah, well, that's
Um,
okay. I mean, four generations basically lived in that house,
mhm.
and the older man died, and the house went back to the bank. And so the bank was gracious with the occupants to kind of let them stay there for a bit, but they'd given them notice, and so they were coming and going. There were people still there, but it was sometimes people weren't staying there absolutely 24/7.
So they had spent the last couple of days loading up furniture and belongings, even up to sometime after 3 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
At least that is according to the video surveillance of the neighbor across the street. And another guy was able to capture some video also of them, uh, or in the wee hours of the morning. And so anyway, I look down there, I see smoke and a glimmer in there, and I thought, well, there is a chance that maybe they have a fire going in the fireplace, and maybe that's what I'm seeing, but I had never seen that before.
Yeah.
And so it concerned me, and so I hastily made my way inside, got my phone, and I called the non-emergency number, initially. But then I'm making my way back out toward the front yard. And as I'm talking to her, and as I step outside, now this thing is a raging inferno. So I
That's
told him
when
call 911 emergency. It's an
he didn't
emergency.
tell her. He probably screamed
Yeah,
at her because
yes,
at that point, adrenaline's spiking.
I
Yeah, of course
was.
it would.
Yeah,
And then our neighbor just to the north of us, that's between us and the burning house, she lives by herself. And so,
she's north of 80 at this point, I believe.
or I'm not sure about that. She's
Pretty
elderly.
sure.
And so he has to run. I'm still asleep at this point, and he has to run. And she's loves antiques, got an antique house, and her family member said that there was 100-year-old thick glass in the front door, and Keith didn't know how many times he hit it with his
Not
fist.
many.
Yeah,
Once,
no.
once
Well,
her.
because he's panicked, and he goes through it. He remembers hitting the glass door, but he doesn't really remember going in the house. He just remembers being in there and hollering for her.
Yeah, it was weird because I just well, I know I hit it kind of hard and yelled for her, and then I thought, check to see if the door's locked before I, do any real
Which is
damage.
good, yeah.
And it was locked as I
Yeah.
suspected, and I just slammed that door. It's like there
Hmm.
was no doubt I was going to go
Well,
get through
yeah,
there.
because you have to save a life.
And so it shattered, and I guess I stepped inside because the next thing I knew, I was in yelling for her somewhere inside of the house,
And
and
she was asleep, and he woke
I
her
don't know
up.
if she was asleep or not. I think she told me she was awake.
Oh, okay. I
Which
didn't
is
know that. I learned something new in
yeah.
my own video.
So I
That's good.
heard her responding, and I found her, and I told her we had to get out of the house immediately. That there was a fire, and so that took a minute, longer than what I expected. Because we had to get, she had to get her walker and some things, and I'm trying to.
Well, she's disoriented.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I'm trying to get her along as quick as I can, and we got her out. And I brought her over here to our house next door, and then I ran inside and began to try to get Julie up and around.
Well, I don't know if you banged on the door or not. You probably did, but I was dreaming, and I remember hearing his panicked voice in my dream, and it just took a second, like, Julie, get up, get up. I mean, he's
Hmm.
just panicked. I get it. Where? And I thought he said the Terry house is burning. The Terry house is burning. That's what I thought he said. Or Terry's
I
house is
think
burning.
I did.
No, that's because I remember
Yeah.
thinking, who's Terry? And there's a story behind that. But anyway, what got through to me was,
Preparing for Terry's.
well, Terry wasn't us. Our name is not Terry. So what that told me real quick is he's panicked, so there's a threat. But Terry is not us, so we're not on fire yet. I've got 10 minutes to get some pants on.
That's
And
what we usually often refer to that as the Froggy House or the Terry House.
well, going back to Key and Peele's thing,
Preparing for Terry's.
yeah, like terrorists and Terrys, whatever. Because we've had some, the neighborhood. It's been a colorful neighborhood from the occupants of that house.
Neighborhood.
So.
Yeah. The
Did I say
yeah.
neighborhood?
It's a naval, I think.
Neighborhood.
Anyway.
I don't know what I said. We're still
the police. The police have been over there so many times. I mean, they
over
know
the
they know
years.
them all.
Ambulance, police.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's been so many crazy things going on over there.
It's not ever dull here.
So anyway, I got the neighbor out, and then I began to try to round up our animals, the cats, herd the cats.
Well, but he's screaming, and so they're hiding
Yeah.
because they're scared. And he's like, "I can't get the cats out." Well, they think you're gonna kill him, like you're acting like a crazy person.
Yeah. So Julie came down, and I let her look
With
for the
pants.
cats, and then I went outside and started trying to, do what we could to start hooking up some water hoses and things. By this time, the law enforcement, a couple of law enforcement had pulled in, and then shortly thereafterward, some of the local fire departments began to make their way there. And I will just say that the that house was so engulfed, and the houses are really pretty close to each other.
They are.
These houses
Old houses.
are over 100 years old. A lot of them.
They're very
They're
close.
nice, but they're old homes and they're fairly close to each other. And so
Closer than normal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they are. And basically, the firefighters had said, I'm sorry. I mean, one of them, I remember telling me he was sorry because the situation was absolutely hopeless. It
Yeah.
was clear that she was gonna lose her house and we were gonna lose our
Well,
home
we
as
were
well.
prepared, and they were prepared for it. But so back to the animal, like getting that, you're just thinking, get the animals out, then start getting absolute thing, the things out that are the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know you got your computer, and
Mm-hmm.
you start because we had a little bit of time, and so I came in here and I'm let one cat out because he goes in and out, and so he would run away from anything scary or loud. So I didn't worry about him getting hurt. Let him out. Couldn't find the other one, and he's got this little hiding spot under the couch that he always gets in when he's scared. And so it's a big, old, thick, heavy leather couch, and I just pulled it out from the wall. Thank goodness he helped me be like Samson, and I picked the thing up from the middle, dumped him out, finally caught him. He didn't run too much, got him in the pet taxi. So we're trying to think clearly, like, okay, he's got the dog, the cats are safe, put the cat in the car, and your mind is going, but we've been through this like with the tornado.
Yeah.
Well, like your mind is going, like I'm not panicked and I'm clear headed, but it's like the signal from my mind to my body, I'm moving, but you're also kind of in a state, at least I am, I can't speak for him. You're also in a state of just kind of maybe maybe it's a little bit of shock. Maybe that's what keeps you from being panicked. This always happens to me. I don't go slow, but I feel like I'm going too slowly given the situation. But you just, get the plants, whatever is of life, get life out of the way of harm. So two plants, two cats, and a dog. And then you start thinking, okay, what is the next important thing? And we'd already gotten some of our stuff together in a fireproof little suitcase thing, and we knew where that was, some of our important documents. So start getting that. We get our computers because we have a lot of content, as you know. And so we get those out, and then you just kind of start thinking, down the line of home file, with all the documents and just different things of the just things you need. And then there's enough time. There seems to be enough time. At first you don't know that, but until they tell you you can't go in your house, which they did with our neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point really quickly where they told her you can't go back in for anything, and she
Right.
got her dog out and her purse and her walker and just the absolute bare minimum
Mm-hmm.
of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, by this time everybody's here and the sun has come up, because one of the reasons I think that he noticed the fire in the first place was that the sun had not yet come up.
Right.
If the sun had been up,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or if we had slept in,
Mm.
you don't, when there's no warning, like, you don't know that fire could be, these are two-story houses, you don't know that your attic could be on fire. I mean,
Well,
you don't
right.
know.
Yeah. Well, and that's as I got to thinking about this later. And to continue with what you were saying, I have a lot of artwork here that I've, you know,
40 something, what
oh yeah,
years?
for many years. I mean, some of these paintings are
Yeah,
pretty old,
yeah,
and
yeah.
a lifetime
A
of
life work.
work.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started transporting a lot of it, and we had some help
Oh
with
gosh.
thanks Sean and
Oh
Mariah,
my
and
goodness, friends showed up and just
we
started helping us.
we also are
Our
they're Sirius
cat.
Black.
He's not hiding right
Yeah,
now. Nobody's screaming.
often he is, but and our good neighbor Jennifer was kind enough to let us store artwork and
And
different belongings over
watch
at
our
her
dog.
house. Yeah,
Yeah,
she held on to our
Zoe.
dog,
Well, and at
and
first you're thinking we don't know how much time we've got.
right,
Like
yeah,
we don't know, so we're just grabbing things we absolutely have to have.
hmm
And then as you see you've got a little bit of time perhaps,
well
and they're
the
fighting
yeah
it.
as the fire department got here, but just to tell you, I mean, and a lot of people didn't even really understand this that are local that I know that were they didn't really get how dire and hopeless the whole situation was until like my friend Justin came by yesterday and I gave him the tour and he was like, oh wow, yeah, he could then see what better than the television footage
Yeah.
or photos
Yeah.
showed.
No.
It made the picture a lot more clear. The house directly to our north, the lady that I went to get, her her whole house was, the top of that roof was smoldering, smoke billowing up and flames licking out. And also, I mean, there is blowing, burning debris,
Yeah.
blowing. I
Yeah.
remember some landing in my hair and in our
Yeah.
yard. And it's just a short amount of time until our house is going to be ashes. I mean, it's like, I know that it's going to be a burning inferno, both of these structures, in
That's
just a short amount of time.
well, and give it like you've worked in firefighting.
I have not structural fire. I worked in wildland firefighting, but yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a genius or a rocket scientist to be able to predict, based upon how far gone this was, how quickly enveloped that structure over there, and the other one to the north of it was destroyed as well. And so three, two were destroyed. One was major damage, the one directly beside us. But miraculously, uh, somehow, I mean, we went from this hopeless situation to where, I mean, I just resigned myself to the fact that we're going to about to lose our house and everything else.
I
That
didn't do that from the beginning. I
I
mean,
didn't at first, but
well, I had to assume, like, you just have to do this with your mind. It's just a survival instinct, just to cope. Like, save what matters, and then the rest you can buy. And that was one thing as you're running through, and you have a little bit of time. Like, there's going to come a point where they're going to say you can't go in there. And so until that time happened, our friends, it was just a walking stream of carrying paintings, and I have a few pieces of art. Keith got those too. And so they're just, as long as they're allowed to do that, they're just carrying paintings across the street to another neighbor's house and putting that in there. And I'm walking through here and just thinking, getting things like even a change of clothes and toothbrushes and just medicine that we need, and things like if we have to land somewhere else. I was planning for us
oh,
to not
I
have
was
a
already
home.
visualizing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. Like, but I never took it as a foregone conclusion in my deep heart. My mind did, though, to say, if you have to land somewhere else tonight and your house is gone and all your possessions, what will you need when to do that? And so I just was trying, like we were going,
Beer.
I did get my little thing of
Yeah.
whiskey that I bought in the Scottish Highlands when I went 10 years ago. I'm like, I'm getting this, and either way, we are drinking this today. Um, and you're just thinking, can I replace this? Like all these books and all
Oh
these things here.
no.
Well, I
We
mean,
got so
there's
many books that, and some of
we
them
do
are irreplaceable.
maybe, but most of them could be
Most
replaced.
of them.
And
I don't even remember what all we have though. We
yeah,
got so many, but
well, and I mean, you're just going through and you're thinking, okay, what is absolutely, like, there would just be little things I would put in bags that I thought I can't replace that. We're getting photos too, and of different, my friend was helping me go through and just kind of try to think through this in a quick way. I mean, we had a little bit of time. It wasn't like all this was happening in 10 minutes.
right.
It was going over time, and I'm thinking at any point they're going to tell us we can't go in.
Mm-hmm.
And so from the basement to the two stories, what is it that is not replaceable? And so I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of went through and got stuff and put them in cars and then moved our cars. Just preparing for, really, honestly, preparing mentally for the worst, because I love the house. But I think God is our God. And this thing happened miraculously, where all of these situations and all of these circumstances, these little things that just happened, that just seemed, you know, just these off the cuff coincidental things just happened when and how they did, to make everything line up. I'm sorry that there was loss of property to that house and the one to the north of it, and to my neighbor's house, but it could have been so much
Oh yeah.
worse.
Well, if
Because a lot of these houses are vacant. Like,
there's a
one
good
is
chance, if I would have slept in 5 more
yes,
minutes
or 10
or something, that the lady would have
died
been
of
toast,
smoke.
and we, or worse, been toast, and that we probably would have too pretty quickly. Uh, if it were unattended. But
Well, and the weird thing is, like, there's a lot of kind of vacant houses on this block. Like, one is an Airbnb, happened to have no occupant.
mm-hmm,
And then one to the south of us is no one stays there all the time. And I
mm,
think the one on the corner at the end, I don't know, do people live in it all the time now?
I think so.
Okay, okay, because it was kind of a come and go kind of thing. But, like, there could have been serious, it just could have consumed this whole
Right.
block.
Yeah, I started sometime later or the next day as I'm just kind of processing all of it. I just started thinking about how unlikely it was that these little
Yeah.
things happened, that really it was miraculous. And there was one of the firemen after the fact that said something to that effect, that it was an absolute miracle that our house survived
Well, you
and
said
that
there
we did.
was a point that they're like, I'm sorry, like they
Yes,
couldn't. And then
yes.
there was just a point where they just seemed to be like,
How
we
did
don't
this
know.
happen?
How
It's
is
like
this happening?
it
How did the
felt,
fire stop?
it was weird. It felt like a movie was playing and somebody clicked pause, and it's like and jumped ahead or something, and the scene had changed.
Yeah.
It was so surreal and
Hmm.
odd because for a while I was holding out hope, and then it got to a point when I saw that, that roof
Her
up
house,
there,
yes.
and just the smoke billowing up from that and the flames licking the edge of, through the shingles and everything.
And how close the houses are.
Yeah, it's so close to ours, and this burning debris flying over and everything. I'm thinking,
Well,
well, it's just a matter of
gonna
time,
be a
and
goner.
there's no hope now.
And it had rained the night before, and we had had like a lot of dry. It had been really dry
Mm-hmm.
here,
Yes.
and it had rained. We hadn't had a rain
Mm-hmm.
that I'm aware of. Like,
And this, I'm not really sure about. I ran around to hook up the garden hose, and I started, water started landing on me everywhere. And at first I thought maybe that's a fire hose or something, but then I started looking around, and I guess it was raining.
hmm.
And not for very long, but and I remember praising God that suddenly it started raining, and it did. And I'm not sure if it was or not, but I don't think that where I was at there would have been any water getting over there like that, and it was just like a nice little sprinkling rain. And I'm just praising God that, where it's keeping the, dampening the grass more, to where think that, we don't have grass fires.
Now, did they put water on our roof? Like,
I don't
trying
think
to
they had yet.
Okay.
And I don't know if they ever put any on ours.
Okay.
I don't know that they ever did. Maybe. It's all a little bit of a blur.
Well, and our neighbor has a lot of antiques. I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
lifetime of getting antiques. And
Mm-hmm.
she did have water damage because they were having to put the fire out of her.
Well,
And
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 the
the,
rafters are charred up.
and they had to cut a couple holes to try to let
Right.
the thing vent, or however, whatever it is that the firemen have to do. I don't understand fire psychology. But the miraculous thing with that is, she had, considering how close she was to a complete inferno, and the fact that her own house was on fire, almost none of her property was destroyed.
We'll try to put some links to the
Hmm.
news coverage, or the little story, the
Oh, they
local
interviewed
news.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, by a couple of the
Yeah.
local
Channels.
news channels, and so we'll try to put those links down below. But it, kind of dawned on me. Julie hinted at it, that it hasn't even been 2 years. I guess. I guess it'll be this April will be 2 years since the tornado hit. This, basically brought complete destruction to this town, and this, specifically this neighborhood
Well,
over
not
here.
complete destruction to the town. There were sections of the town that
Yes,
were in the path, but the
right.
other parts of the town were totally left unaffected.
Right,
But
but it did major damage,
yes,
and
well,
to this area.
we had the National Guard
Yeah,
here. I mean, we had,
FEMA.
yeah, I
All.
mean, like, here for weeks, so
Mm-hmm.
it was a big deal.
Oh yeah, and so
Unfortunately.
this neighborhood had been through that, and still had not fully recovered from that. I mean, uh, there's still a few things that, I mean, basically we had to have new roof, new siding, and still in the process of getting fence and deck repairs made, hopefully pretty quickly now. And the neighbors,
We'll get there.
our neighbors across the street, they're still working on getting their house repaired. They ran into some issues with the contractor, another long deal, but it just kind of struck me as I started running through these events in my head and thinking about the perspectives that one could take. And we probably talked in previous videos. I know I've talked on the subject quite a bit about how everything in this reality, this current reality, is polarities, that everything has opposite poles. The earth does, people have that. The nation has that. We're very polarized, right, as a nation. Well, to a certain extent, that is the paradigm really from the beginning, I think, but particularly post tree of knowledge, good and bad. Where I think that we had before that, I think we had dualities even before the fall, but there was unity within those in complements, which there still can be, but often they're working against each other. These opposites are, rather than complementing each other, often they're working against one another. And so, that being said, there is different ways that you can look at things, and I think that the reality that we're in, you can come up with a real good reason for the view that you have.
It's true.
In a lot of cases, like a person could look at this situation well, and maybe what really makes the point well. Sometimes in the course of doing teachings different places, because I talk a lot about perception and communication and that sort of thing, and how the way we think, our paradigm, affects our interpretation and our perception. And so sometimes I will write something on the board, or show a picture of something. We'll put it up, and and I'll ask people, what does this say? And it will seem rather obvious at first what it says, but then, particularly for the more perceptive people, real quickly they will realize that there's another way that it could be read or interpreted. And so a lot of people will look at that initially and interpret it that God is nowhere. And then another person will look at it and see God is now here. And depending upon your paradigm, it's easy to see how you're seeing what you see.
Well, if you're honest, in all truthfulness, if you're living life, it's a beautiful catastrophe.
Yeah.
Comedy of errors and omissions and tragedies, and like you're saying, a lot of people won't be honest about with what they feel.
You get to choose.
You do, but I mean, even the people in the Bible, Job and David and Lamentations and different ones, just have really hard time with things that happened, and I mean, they had to just work through it. As you're talking, I'm thinking about a particular movie called Signs.
Yeah, I thought about that this week.
Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix. It's one of my favorite movies, and it really illustrates that concept of God is nowhere. I do too, and God is now here. It's entertaining, but it's also, to me, it's a really great message. If you haven't seen it,
it'll make you think.
It will, and it will warm your heart too. But
it's very well done. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, so that movie there is a great example, because the characters were basically interpreting the events just like that. Mel Gibson's character was interpreting,
not to give it away, but
life as God is nowhere, while his brother was seeing in others that God is now here. And so, like, as I replayed the events of this fire situation and the tornado situation, in my head, I see God is now here. And I will just say this, we don't have much time today, but
he's going to the prison.
Yeah, I've got prison services I have to leave for pretty soon, but Um, what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. Um,
It happens.
what was it? You remember what I was saying?
No, because I didn't. We can
You
cut
weren't
this part
listening.
out. No, you didn't
No,
say
no,
anything. You were
no.
gearing up, and you never said anything, so I didn't.
um, sorry,
Going to the prison.
completely lost my train of thought there on what I was going to say. I had a real good point, I think, that I was going into, but um,
Well, and
on
just
perception.
yeah, and just interpreting life events and how, you like you said, you have a choice. Everybody's
Yes.
looking at the same set of
Yeah.
circumstances, and we've talked about this before of like a family having several siblings in it. They all go through the same set of circumstances, and you may have a devoted believer come out of that family, and you may have a raving atheist come out of that family, and
Hmm.
they went through the same set of circumstances.
Hmm.
And so nobody's saying that it feels always like God is walking right beside you. A lot of
That's
times,
what it was.
okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say that for a while, I had, feel like I've been going through some struggles for a while, and like God has been nowhere for me. Like that I haven't been able to hear or feel God. It feels like it's felt for a long time like he's been silent, and like that I've been, you know, reaching out and trying to connect with him, but it seems like it's been crickets for a long time. Yet that day it was like showed me that, you know, he's still there and that he's still orchestrating things in ways that we can't even comprehend how he could do that. And I realize at the same time, for the critics and naysayers, they would be everything that I could point to, they would just dismiss as coincidence and
Sure.
say, well, it's not really God. And if it was really God, then explain to me how somewhere in the country a fire burned and all the people died. How explain that to
I
me then?
right.
And
Can't.
so
Can't.
we get into these kinds of things, and we have to be honest with that. We don't want to be
Mm-mm.
Pollyannas, and we don't want to be insensitive to that kind of thing. But ultimately, man has to realize that he's not God, and that he isn't he doesn't have all of the information to really make a fully informed decision about a lot of things yet. I think that a lot of that information will be forthcoming, and eh, in the future, some. And I think that people will realize at that point, how could I have been so blind when all of the signs were there? I think that people will maybe be given the opportunity to see their lives and all of how God's hand was moving in and out of their lives, and they just dismissed it or ignored it. And while other people saw it as that way, they saw God is now here, even in times of crisis and
And loss.
tragedy.
And yes, and
Yes, like
loss.
Job, and
Right.
and it is not an easy thing, and I'm so thankful that we had a happy ending. But I was prepared as much as I could be, because I knew it was out of my hands at that point. I knew it was out of really everyone's hands, the firefighters and everyone else. And so, but our perspective and our interpretation wasn't the final authority. There was another perspective, a perspective from above, and though things looked hopeless from our point of view, and even trained, seasoned firefighters saw that there was absolutely no hope, there was hope,
Mhm.
because God can do anything he wants to.
Absolutely. That's
And
right.
so it
That's
was
what
a
you
good lesson.
Well, and that's what you come away with. The longer you live life and the longer you do your best to try to serve him, he'll do whatever he wants. He
Yes.
won't cross his word, but he's sovereign. He's sovereign over all creation. He'll do whatever he wants to do. And I don't have easy answers. Like you said, I don't have easy answers for people, or even for myself, for things that have been hard. You pray for people, they die. You pray for some people and they live. Some people lose their house, some people don't lose their house. I don't have those answers. You just have a choice like David said, though you slay me, I will serve you. If I make my bed in hell, you're there. You just make a decision that you're going to believe. You get to decide how you participate. I say that quite a bit. You do get to decide. He gives you that choice and that option. And even if we were going to lose our house, and I'd already said this to myself, we're still, you've preserved our
Our
life
pets, yeah.
and our even our content.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were able to get our computers and stuff out, and
Mm-hmm.
we've got some stuff backed up to the cloud, but I mean, we've got a lot here that's local.
Mm-hmm.
We can start over. And even if we just had the clothes on our backs and our animals, I mean, and even if we just had the clothes on our backs, he's our God, and
Mm-hmm.
he will help establish us again.
Yeah, that's what I'm reminded of what Job said, and I think that we may have to learn to adopt his attitude. And I just want to say that a lot of people that I know of are going through severe trials, some terrible stuff. I'm a lot of people that I know have been diagnosed with terminal diseases and things like that. I mean, a lot, and just terrible things that a lot of people have been going through. And your friend, I mean, some of the terrible things that they've gone through in the last few years, and I don't understand exactly all of this. I mean, and I think that people who want to just give slap some simple refrigerator verse on it isn't being
I agree.
realistic or sensitive. These things are
Honest.
complicated
They
many
are.
times.
Life's hard.
But Job said, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And that I think we may have to adopt that in order to elevate. This has been a lesson lately I've been thinking about. Elevation comes after the trial. If you look in scripture, that Abraham was put through a trial, or Moses, then they are elevated. They're put through a trial, they're elevated. So if you want to grow, you want to become closer to God, and you want to be more transformed in and be a better representative of his kingdom and of the his Messiah, then it requires decreasing, it requires testing, and that stuff is never comfortable.
And refining.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm also reminded, I believe it was Elisha and his servant Gehazi that were surrounded by these armies. And once again, things were absolutely hopeless. Clearly, anybody can see that.
As men see.
But the prophet said, "Open his eyes, Lord." And so his spiritual eyes were open, and then he was able to see that there were far more with them than with the men.
Like Jonathan and his armor bearer,
Mhm.
too. I mean, that was absolutely hopeless. And then the lepers, in that one spot, I forget where it is,
Yes,
where God magnified their walking,
yes.
and they thought there was a greater army than what just the few of them were walking.
We don't, often we do not have any choice maybe about what happens to us. And there was a point there where everything was out of our hands. Our destiny was out of our hands. The houses in the were in God's hands, because the people, it was beyond their control to stop. But one thing that we did have, even through all of that, was choice. We cannot control the circumstances many times, but we do have choice in our interpretation of the circumstances.
And how we meet them.
Yes. And so I just want to encourage you, whatever you might be going through, or your family or friends, that I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and that it's going to be magically, everything's going to be fixed. It might not. I hope that you get a miracle. I hope that things are healed. Hope that things work out like we want them to. But even if they don't, you still have a choice in interpreting the situation. Is God is nowhere, or that God is now here?
And how much praise and glory does he get? Like in Job's case, when Satan said, well, of course he praises you. You protect everything that he has, and everything he does you bless. How much glory does God get when you go through trial and you have every reason to get mad at God or turn your back on God or say the wrong things where he's concerned, and you choose to praise him, not because he's doing what you want, but because he's God? How much glory, what kind of a
Absolutely.
sacrifice is that?
Absolutely.
And you said something about elevation that I wanted to say. You said in the scriptures, to look to the scriptures, there's trial and then there's elevation. There's elevation that way, even here in our own world. I mean,
Yes.
going through the school system,
Mm-hmm.
you get the training, you have the lessons in like third grade, you have third grade lessons, and then you're tested on those lessons in the third grade. And then if you pass all of that adequately, you are elevated to the fourth grade. So it's not a novel,
Right.
a great, you know,
As Yeshua might say, how is it that you're able to see this and
yeah,
you're not able to see the spiritual
yeah.
principles at work?
Yeah, it's not a high misunderstood. I mean, maybe we do misunderstand it, but it's not a concept that is so far away from us that we can't
Right.
grasp. We go through it now. Like
Absolutely.
if a
Or
company is run,
jobs, yeah.
yeah, if it's run the right way, you learn on the job, and then you have situations that test your knowledge and your attitude toward things, and how
Mm-hmm.
you carry pressure and how you
Sure.
solve problems. And if you do all that adequately and you have a just management system, then you're elevated. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so in the natural, so in the spiritual.
Thank you guys very much. Be sure and like, subscribe, share the video, and smash that notification button for us. Hope you guys are doing okay. God bless you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right, you're going to host today or co-host today, Chicky? Okay, you're going to have to stop licking your butt so we can get serious about this. Okay, you need to look up at the camera. Stop licking your... Yeah. Okay, are you going to focus? Chicky, I need you to focus. Chicky. Okay, good. All right, look up the camera. No. I think you've got it. It's gone forever or there to stay.
You stole that line from Long Kiss Goodnight.
Hey, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe to be notified whenever we release new content, and to help other people find us out there on the vast plains of YouTube land. If you have a question or a topic you'd like for us to do a video about, just leave it in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Later, y'all.